episode 1923 Main Street.
Home of everything to do with travel in style. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bella Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bella Braddock. And today, coastal travel style. What to pack for a seaside vacation and how where you're going really makes an impact.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you say coastal, I think most people automatically picture these sort of warm, fun, tropical type of coasts. But a coastal vacation can be many things. It can be a sunny beach, sure, but it could also be the Norwegian cliffs and things like that. So lots of different coastlines.
And I've got a Pinterest board for every single one of them.
And, you know, so your coastal style, there's a couple of ways to plan for coastal style, obviously, given what I just said. But the main point is city versus coast, very different. So if you're planning a Disney trip or a trip to Madrid or something like that, it's going to be a different suitcase than your coastal vacation.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that you said most people assume, you know, a warm vibe, because when I hear coastal, for me, that's very much American East Coast, New England kind of vibes. But that's even totally different from LA versus the Mediterranean or something more tropical like the Caribbean. Those are all very different styles.
Yeah, so
for at least when I'm interpreting them and when I'm planning outfits and making interest boards and looking at what I want to get together going to these places.
Many different seas and oceans and coasts, north and south.
Exactly.
So let's talk about it in that way. Let's talk about first the staples of coastal travel style. So wherever your waterfront vacation is going to be, and you know, even if you're going to a cottage on a big lake somewhere, some of these will apply. Things you have to bring, or you should really consider bringing, and we'll do it in 3 areas, and we'll do warm and cool coast. So let's talk.
Yes.
First, light breathable fabrics with an asterisk for cooler coast.
Yeah. So fabric is a very important aspect. Even if you're bringing the same sort of piece, there are differences in between the fabrics, and they can make a very big impact on not only your shots and your photos, but also the way you feel when you're wearing these pieces. So it's something that you really need to consider.
So let's say tropical coasts and cooler coasts.
Yes. So first off, tropical coast, this would be, you know, the Caribbean or the Florida Keys, very much down south, more near the equator type places, warmer climates, linen shirts, cotton sundresses, soft washes on t-shirts, things like that are all a great option. You want breathable pieces that can maybe get a little rumpled on the sandy beach, sea breeze. You want like...
Yeah, and they still look good like that.
You want like relaxed and you can deal with
That's why linens
the salty
work,
air.
right?
That's why linen's great. Even, you know, on longer dresses or flowy, lighter fabrics look great as well. That's why they're very popular for these places. All, like, you know, the beach shots that you see, they're always, at least for the girls, the long flowy dresses, or for the guys, the lighter, like the button-up, breathable linen shirts and things like that. And they're like that for a reason.
Now, let's say you're going to the Pacific Northwest or Ireland, a coastal vacation, something like that. It's going to be a little bit different, even in summer.
Yeah. A cooler coast, you know, that's when you have a lot of layering is involved, because obviously you still want your bathing suit on underneath, but then you want to put things on top. You want organic cottons. The waffle knits are very cute, still very beachy, but they're also warmer. Knit thermals, cozy hoodies, even lightweight waterproof jackets and things are important.
Yeah, especially on the Northwest.
Yeah, at least something to consider when you're traveling.
Or Ireland, for that matter.
Exactly.
And you know what? They get, you know, that sort of all season rain.
I love, you know, the oversized sweater kind of look as well. It's a little bit warmer, but it can be very cute, very beachy. The sort of looser knit situation I find very cute as well.
All right. So number 1, that was fabrics. Now, number 2, let's talk about coastal colors. And they're also going to differ for sort of warm versus cool coast.
Yeah, this is a big thing. You know, for me, I've mentioned it a lot. I'm a very big Pinterest board person. So when I'm thinking about my boards and the color schemes, they're drastically different. Like, they're very starkly different from like beachy and tropical coasts. You know, you want whites and sands. You can have different kinds of blues and corals and greens. I find a lot of the time the brighter colors tend to come on here. You think about like hibiscus flowers and the nature and all the different foliage that's around there. It's very bright. It's very beautiful. And even the sea and the coral reefs, there's a lot of color involved. And then the backing colors like white and beige that kind of tie it all together in a good look is fabulous for the tropical coasts. Whereas for me, when I'm interpreting it, the more northern or rustic coastline are grays and deeper colors like navy or the sage green, foggy, sort of lavender vibes that are stormy teal situation, a little bit more like that.
Yeah, and we have a lot of these in our collections for both kind of coasts, really, that play into these colors. So, yeah, you really want to, I mean, I think it looks sort of funny if you were on a, Norway rugged fjords coast and then you're wearing your Hawaiian. I mean, people do it, but
I think
it's not,
I really
if you
think
want
that's
contrast,
iconic. I was going to say, I think if you decide to do that, I think all the power to you. Please take a photo.
Yeah, you can do mix
Please
and match.
post that. I find that hilarious. I highly support.
Everything we're saying in the reverse. There you go.
I think that'd be so much fun.
Now, let's take number 3. We've got colors, we've got fabrics. How do we layer all this for weather on these coasts? And it is sort of time of year dependent, but we'll talk generally speaking.
I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to pull up to my Caribbean vacation with a waterproof jacket on. So it's not going to be happening.
Yeah, because even if it is a summer storm, as we've talked about a lot, we prefer just to get wet.
Yeah, but layers are very important. And weather on any coast, it doesn't matter, can change constantly. Change with the wind, literally, because it's very easy to be impacted by tides and turning. So it's very much subject to rain, heavy wind, lots of things like that. So even if you're on a more tropical, beachy, relaxed coast, you still want to be prepared for inevitable weather situations. First of all, as I recommend, always a light sweater or hoodie, anything nice, soft, travel ready, wherever you're going. Highly recommend. It's good to have in case of a situation like this, even if it doesn't look the cutest for your Instagram photos. It's still great to have in any situation like there. Also, I like to go for a layering, a long sleeve tee, or cooler mornings you can do more oversized, bring it to the beach, throw it off whenever you're getting ready in the water. It can still be a nice color themed, whatever you're wearing, but just to have in case it gets a little bit cooler when the sun goes up or down. If you're going out to get those cute sunset sunrise photos, it's nice to have a layer to throw on for when you're not taking the photos to keep yourself at a nice temperature.
All right, now let's go into destination specific style. And we'll start with things you must pack or must consider packing for the tropical or warm weather beaches. Now, this could be the south of France in the summer. So anywhere where it's going to be a sort of, because the south of France in the winter is nice, but it's 60s,
well,
right?
Yeah, they're hosting the Winter Olympics
in
the south of France in a couple of years. So
that's strange. They don't get snow, so it's
a
bit odd. But anyway, so if you're going through to a tropical or warm weather beach, what are your destination-specific must-have coastal style items?
Yeah. So first off, I think it's a little bit different depending on the tropical warm weather beach like south of France versus something like the Caribbean. But obviously, swimwear, I like to go with a cute little bikini. I personally like to go color scheme. So, if it was south of France, I'd go or like tan, blues, different things like that. Whereas obviously tropical Caribbean, I go bright. So different things like that fit the color scheme. Linen, as we've talked about, a fabulous option for the beach. It's easy to deal with. It looks okay when it's rumpled. It's lightweight. It's perfect. Wide brim hats are very cute right now. Flip-flops, espadrilles if you're on the Mediterranean or rage. Very cute, functional as well for the beach and easy, not going to suffocate your feet in. Usually relaxed fits. Even graphic tees with a vintage, surf vibe or beachy print on it can be cute, depending on how you style it as well. Or those with a cute pair of, like the striped shorts, a little bit more of a relaxed look going to and from the beach. I think that can be adorable.
All right, let's now talk about something like the Pacific Northwest. So Vancouver Island, Oregon coastline, Washington State coastline. So this is very different, even in the summer, than what Amelia just said.
This is not my cup of tea.
Sure, it can be nice, but these kind of coastal vacations are different because you might be hiking a lot along the rugged coast. You might like fishing or even those really cool photos you can get. Even if you're surfing there, it's probably wetsuit surfing at some times of the year. So you're going to be looking more for hiking boots for this one, really, or good sturdy shoes. Sort of leggings. I mean, we have those thermal leggings that the girls wear here that they seem to like. And you want a cozy hoodie, even a toque, a knit hat could be something you could bring depending on the time of year you're going.
Even swimwear is a little bit different, This can sometimes be a wetsuit situation.
Yeah,
less
or
of
those
a cute little bikini.
You know the kind that the swim racers use? Those something like that would
like
work
the romper
well.
swimsuits,
In this type of location because it is cooler.
Yeah,
I mean,
you wanna
even
be insulating
California
that body
water's
heat.
cool, right? You know how cool the water is in California in the summer?
Well,
It's even cooler up in Oregon, Washington, Vancouver Island.
in the winter.
Verging on cold in the summer.
Oh, fun.
So you're going to want a wetsuit type of swimwear, not the bikini. I mean, you might want a tan, but if you're going in, you might want to cover up a little bit more. And
Yeah.
obviously hoodies, nice graphic tees for coastal walks. You can have campfires in the evening in these places where you might not as much want a hot campfire on Martinique in the summer.
It's a little bit of a different situation.
And then slightly different, once again, hop the pond. Let's say you're looking at the UK coastline or Scandinavia. It's going to be a little different there. Similar terrain to the Pacific Northwest in a way, but different weather.
Yeah, you got to prepare, like breathable base layers, sturdy walking shoes are great. This is where I think you can bring a raincoat or some kind of cute, lightweight trench coat jacket situation. It's more of a moody vibe, darker toned sweatshirts, and like subtle literary inspired travel graphics also.
Yeah, and you might want those sort of thick hiking socks to go in your boot. And
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
cool style look too. But definitely you're going to be walking on rugged coast there in potentially more windy, rainy weather. Depending on where and
Definitely
when you're
different than the south of France or the Caribbean or even the East Coast of America.
And always dress with that sort of daydream vibe in mind. These are not your normal vacation. They do each have their own cool mood. So whatever wardrobe you pack,
Of course.
you want to, be considering whether you're going for that coffee before your morning paddle on the calm ocean or whatever it is you're wearing. Consider your style. I'm sure you all do. I know Amelia does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have tons of...
I have the Pinterest boards to prove it, okay?
Tons of little coastal. We have a actually coastal collection. Look at our collection, search coastal, and you'll see a few pieces that fit into this that you might want to grab to take on your next coastal vacation. All right, everyone. There you have it. Coastal style this week. Love a good coastal vacation of any kind personally. So hope you enjoy your experience wherever you may be heading. Thanks as always for listening. Follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. Visit us at 1923mainstreet.com. We'll see you again next week. And always remember to roam freely and wear boldly.
Bye-bye.